Is there a diet that will maximize your IVF success? Hi, I'm Dr. Randy Morris. I am a board-certified IVF and fertility expert. In today's episode, I will not attempt to sell you any diet books or diet programs or diet supplements. I am going to review for you the evidence about various diets and their effect on IVF success. Stay tuned. There is one diet that has probably been studied more than any other diet for its effect on IVF success, and that is called the Mediterranean diet. A typical Mediterranean diet contains a high amount of vegetables, fruits, olive oil, beans and cereal grains, moderate amounts of fish, dairy products and wine, and only a small amount of red meat and poultry. The Mediterranean diet is popular in Greece, which is located in the Mediterranean. Our first study about the impact of this diet on IVF success comes from Greece. Researchers there studied 244 women who were about to do their first IVF attempt. Only non-obese women were included in this study. They used a validated questionnaire to determine how closely their patients followed this diet. A higher score means they followed the diet more closely. Scores ranged from 0 to 55. They divided them into 3 groups based on their score: low, medium, and high. Here are the results from that study. They found no difference in how many eggs were retrieved, how many were mature eggs, how many fertilized, or how many became high-quality embryos. They did not find a difference in how often there was implantation of at least one embryo. They did, however, find that the group with the lowest score, meaning those that didn't follow the Mediterranean diet very closely, were less likely to make it far enough along in the pregnancy for it to be seen on ultrasound. This is known as a clinical pregnancy rate. They also had a lower live birth rate compared to the other 2 groups. That's interesting, right? It might mean that following the Mediterranean diet might reduce the chance for a very early pregnancy loss, what we fertility doctors call a biochemical pregnancy. However, when they looked at their data a little more closely, they found that the diet only made a difference in women under the age of 35. For older women, there was no difference in the pregnancy rate whether they followed the diet closely or not. More recently, researchers here in the USA studied 450 women who completed a total of 768 IVF cycles. They looked at 3 different variations of the Mediterranean diet. Like the Greek study, they also used a questionnaire to determine how well their patients followed the diet, but in this case, they divided them into 4 groups. Unlike the Greek study, how closely these women followed their diets did not have an effect on their clinical pregnancy rate or their live birth rate. They analyzed their results by age and did not find any difference. They did not see a difference in the risk for clinical pregnancy loss, or when they combined biochemical pregnancies and clinical pregnancies, no difference in the total loss rate. Finally, we have a study from China. Nearly 600 women were included in the study. They divided them into 2 groups based on how closely they followed the Mediterranean diet. This study did not follow women all the way to delivery, so we only have the clinical pregnancy rates to compare. As you might have guessed, there was no difference in the pregnancy rate based on how closely they followed the Mediterranean diet. When they controlled for age, they still saw no difference. So, should you follow a Mediterranean diet to improve your IVF success rate? If you are a thin woman under the age of 35 who lives in Greece and are doing your first IVF cycle, then sure. For everybody else, it's not so certain. One thing to keep in mind, however, is that none of these studies showed a lower chance for pregnancy or live birth by following the Mediterranean diet, so we can probably conclude there is no harm. The Mediterranean diet is overall considered a healthy diet. So even if it doesn't improve your chances for IVF success, it might be worth doing. Infertility TV is your most trusted source for accurate information on infertility and miscarriage. If you are not a subscriber yet, hit the subscribe button right now. A new episode is released every week. Don't miss any episodes. You can also check us out on our website, ivf1.com, where you can become a patient.